Thanks for joining. Thanks for participating. My name is Manuel Brugger. I'm one of the managing partners here at Advice, and I am warmly welcoming you to the What's New in Australia. I would have loved to be the release to be named by Austria. We already had also the chance in the V release where it was Vienna, not Vienna, unfortunately. Nevertheless, we're going through the highlights of the new release today. Looking forward to guide you through that, and let's see what's in for you. So from a gender perspective, we will cover a release overview on the slides for SPM, CWM, and EA. I will also include not only the highlights for the release in March now, but I would also include the information over the release of December, so that you also get an info there. Just for your information, we also uploaded the Q1 Delta deck into the webinar software. Let me know if you can see that, or if you have any questions to that, and if we should keep that going forward. So the main part of the session today will be a live demo. So I will go through the main topics of the release as much as possible within the session. I will also mention that during the session, probably the one or the other time, if you have any detailed question, what that means to your specific environment, or how we could leverage the one or the other functionality in your situation, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to go through any further details if they appear or occur. So what are the highlights for SPM? We structured it a little bit differently so that you can also grasp the most important topics based on the license that you have. So we have the Pro Plus functionality, we have SPM Pro, and we have SPM Standard. As some of you might have seen, there will be changes in the licensing, but as the majority of customers are still in the current SPM licensing model, that will not immediately impact you. So that's why for this webinar, we will keep that. So in relates to Now Assist, we have two things I will definitely show in a demo. That's the project insights and project status report overview. I will not talk about so much here and just directly show the functionality. This one is really a good enhancement and definitely delivers a lot of value to project managers. We also have functionality related to demand summarization, similarly to what we have had in the projects already, and the possibility now to identify similar records, which is also helpful not only in the demand, but also in the project space and other areas. There are enhancements in relates to the strategic planning or strategic goal management. The one is a possibility to generate goal insights out of the Now Assist capabilities, but also automatically generate targets based on defined and documented goals. This is also quite a nice one and interesting functionality. Apart from that, an enhancement to the story, or in this case, Scrum task and acceptance criteria generation, which has also been added in December or March, respectively. For SPM Pro, we have a few really cool new functionalities. The one is related to enterprise strategy and goals. This one I'll definitely demo. But here we can see quite some enhancements related to the way how we deal with enterprise strategy and OKR management. Also here in regards to that, the possibility to delegate the OKRs and target records, so the key results and target records respectively. Quite a big enhancement when it comes to access, but also to accountability, and make this more transparent. In the area of enterprise agile planning, we have a few things to mention. The one is the possibility to integrate enterprise agile planning more flexibly with Jira, which is a big plus point now. We have the possibility to convert demands into any EAP object. So whether it's an epic feature or capability, but also, or story, sorry, but also a new integration between enterprise agile planning and CWM. And then for strategic planning itself, we have some smaller enhancement when it comes to the hierarchy and Kanban view. I will quickly show that in the demo as well. For SPM standard, the biggest news is definitely the introduction of the project playbook in December and the demand playbook now in March. With the demand playbook, also the introduction of the demand workspace, which is not an own workspace itself, but is integrated into portfolio or strategic planning workspace. We will show that anyways, but this is quite a big new introduction. There are also some enhancements in regards to the status report. One is an enhancement to the copy functionality, and also the other one is a possibility to have a proper state management in the status reporting, which allow you now to distinctly differentiate between status reports that are still in draft and editable and status reports that are closed and are ready to be exported. Something we configured in the recent times for customers and now is part of the standard product. There are also some enhancements in regards to resource management. One is an own component in the project workspace, which is now fully navigationable and integrated into project management overview as well. Then we have enhancements when it comes to the possibility to plan resources on sub-projects, and this rolling up into the main project as well, but also the possibility in the resource management workspace to realign resources to the respective timeframes. Finally, a big enhancement in the financials when it comes to multi-currency. So this is now fully available in the project workspace financials. So you can select when you have multi-currency enabled. You can now select in the project workspace whether or not you would like to plan or view the project in the project currency or in the central currency. This is something you can change at any time when you open the financials. This is a big benefit. And also the benefit planning is now integrated into the project financials, which means that you can now fully view and review the benefit plans, but also have the financial figures accurately displayed along the way. I will show that because it has an impact on the overall change of the overview itself. Then we are talking about CWM. For CWM, collaborative work management. We have a CWM standard, which is included in SPM. And we have CWM Pro Plus, which is now Assist for CWM respectively. In here, we have some new functionality. On the one hand, the Scrum task and acceptance criteria generation, similarly to the one we have for Now Assist SPM. And we have a new module that is called Formula Generation, which enables you basically to define some KPIs and let them be generated based on formulas. And this can be done by an AI assist that generates the formula based on the text inputs you give. In regards to CWM standard, we have the already mentioned EAP integration. We have a new version of the unified tasks overview, but also the possibility to now have a full overview over the cross work type relationships, which is something that you can easily now define and maintain within CWM, irrespective whether it's a story, an epic, or whatever you want to assign a relationship to. We'll have a quick look in the demo, hopefully, depending on the time. Then there are some small enhancements to the docs in general with the dynamic content, the board views and everything, and of course, the possibility to store preferences and share them with others. Last but not least, enterprise architecture. biggest changes are to the comparison change analysis of models or diagrams. So this one is a quite big one when it comes to architectural artifact and analysis. There is also now assist for the business application insights. This has been enhanced and was introduced in December, and also the possibility to have an now assist for the description, so filling in the description of a business application. For EA Pro, we have some new models when it comes to Archimate, but also new models for the AI inventory and AWS models and other features I just mentioned. Then we have possibility to better use or make use of the application rationalization, in general filtering for applications, scoring and having the normalized and total scores next to each other. And we also have now the possibility to generate an architecture documentation out of the model, for example. So this is quite a nice one here. For EA standard, we have a new area for the data certification. I will definitely show in the demo. And we have an upgraded and enhanced AI control tower integration between enterprise architecture standard and the ServiceNow AI tower functionality in general. Also here, it gives us quite some leverage from an architectural standpoint, because this is getting bigger and bigger topics at customers to get all the different AI models, but also the use cases under control and under tight architectural guidance. Good. So these are the overview. This is the overview over the release highlights. We will now directly dive into the overview in the solution. As mentioned, this will keep us busy for the remaining about 25 minutes. Yeah, about 25 minutes. First, project management, project workspace. As mentioned, quite some big enhancements here. The first one is definitely the AI insight. So here you can see that I get a project overview with a summary. This one is already really good because I do get overview tasks, risks, financial variance, milestone assignments, task delays, and so on and so forth, and a textual overview of the latter. I get a detailed overview and already an assignment of which items are critical, moderate, and low. So here, for example, different tasks that are unassigned and that should already be ongoing or are close to deadlines. We have overdue tasks. We have a moderate concern to resolve to close some tasks which are not that close but are still not assigned, and so on and so forth. We have an overview over the milestones, which in this case is a critical issue as well, with 3 upcoming milestones. We have insights into resources, meaning that we have over allocation and already an information on the conflicting project. This is really good. So I could directly dive into that and probably chat with the project manager of that respective project. Then we have already an information of underutilization, also nice. And also the possibility that a colleague has underutilization in May, but is overutilized in April, for example. Then REDAG and also financial insights. From a financial insights perspective, what I do really like is that it goes over the total variance, but it is detailing that based on the OPEX and CAPEX underruns, and also the information that it's giving you an overview up to the last fiscal period as well. So if there would be any differences, not only totally, but also related to the current state and the last fiscal period, This is also mentioned here. Another big addition in December for project was already the introduction of the project playbook. This one is now giving us really big opportunity in bringing the different project methodologies and the different ways how projects are structured and should be followed into a better way than dealing with milestones and checklists and whatnot. So within the playbooks, we can now, so out of the box, we get 2 playbooks for project management and 1 playbook for demand management, which can be fully configured quite easily. We are doing this with a lot of customers at the moment, and this is from every project we have been working with since December. This has a very positive perception because it gives you a way of guiding your users through the more or less complex project workflows, because it gives you the possibility to really include fields that you have to fill, information that you have to provide, specific records that you should deliver or link, and you can do that in a structured way. So the playbooks can be structured either like it is shown here, that you go through each and every item and can directly mark it, or really in a step-by-step approach that you can only edit the next item in the list when you have completed the one before. We will see that in the demand management where this is out of the box, or based on a stage gate. So you can only open, for example, the planning phase when you have completed the initiation phase. So all these types of models are available, and they can even be combined quite easily. So this is a very powerful tool from a configuration perspective to steer your processes in a more lean way, and also more transparent for your users, because they don't have to navigate through, I don't know, different views. They can be steered right through the playbook, which is also significantly easier, especially for people that are not, let's say, full-fledged project managers, but only have to contribute to the one or the other item. So this one is an important addition for project management for the playbooks. When it comes to resource management, there are quite a few new enhancements I would like to tackle quickly. The one is the new resource view here in the project management workspace. In the December release, it was a separate item where you still had to navigate out to the resource management workspace. Now it's really fully integrated. As you can see, it's the resource management workspace really integrated into project management. So you see here the allocation of the different people. You can dive into which tasks they are assigned to. You can also see when they are over allocated. You can go in the allocation into that and also see which is the conflicting project. Here it's already approved, the other one is still pending. And yeah, you can, of course, as you know from the resource management workspace, quickly change between the monthly and the weekly view. That doesn't remove the project planning view for the project manager. So you still have the resource assignments here. We can add the different assignments on each and every level. Yeah, so you see that, but you get an aggregated view on the resources directly in that view. Yeah, so it also relieves you a little bit from navigating back and forth and doing a proper filtering. I would also like to mention a few enhancements that have been that are now available in the resource management workspace. So the one is the possibility to assign work automatically. So you can let the system decide who is the best resource to pick for a specific assignment, but you can still do that also manually. And here, either distribute the entire effort equally when you have more than one person assigned, or you can also distribute the partial effort. So I can, instead of 160 hours, I can, for example, assign only 20 or 100 hours, for example, and let that being assigned equally to the different resources available. Another thing that has been enhanced recently is the possibility to extend the resource assignment. As you know, the resource plan, the project plan can change. So task can shift, can be extended, whatnot. But especially if a task is extended, this does not automatically mean that the resource assignment is being extended, because the system doesn't know what implication that might have on the task itself or on the resources. So I can now extend an assignment easily, for example, by 2 weeks, and just say that as the planning was done on hours, I need 20 additional hours for the extended time frame. This will then be added to the assignment. The assignment will have a new end date, and the hours will be added based on the time frame that I extend this assignment to. I will not do that because the timeline is still until mid of May. System will not allow me to anyhow extend an assignment over the project duration anyways. So that was one thing. And yeah, and I can, of course, open that because I'm an admin in the system. So usually the project manager, if not assigned the resource management role itself, will not be able, for example, to, of course, assign work or extend or move the assignments. The other one is the resource sync to the project duration or to the project task timeframe is now also available in the resource management workspace. It's not anymore that from a resource management perspective, you need to go back to the project, click on the button, go back to resource management. You can directly steer it from there as well. So this is a quite new enhancement here as well. So there are other things to talk about resource management, but in the matter of time, I will now quickly go over to the financials. The biggest change here is the addition of the benefit planning into the project financials. As you can see, I have now here benefit plans as a new, as a new type. What is important to understand here now is that we're dealing with minus and plus values, meaning that the benefits are seen on the positive side, the costs are seen on the negative side of the balance. This means that you will now have period with minus euro values, especially when you haven't yet planned the benefit plans into your projects. This could be a significant change for your users, so be aware of that when you upgrade to the latest version in the project management workspace, so that you will now see minus values in here instead of plus values as you have seen it maybe before. So this is just an information from a change management perspective. Other than that, you will see now period exact calculations from a benefit and cost plan. And at some point in time, you will then see in positive values depending on your project financials, of course. So this is quite a big new one. Another one which I'm not able to show because we haven't activated the multi-currency plugin in our demo environments yet is the possibility to change the project, the view from a project currency to the reporting currency. This can be done by a checkbox now here, so you can select which you would like to see, and just by that, be also aware that this is also honored in the baseline. So this is now fully available in the baseline, so you can also compare this based on the project or the global currency, and this is also now an update. And I can also directly create a new monetary benefit plan from the financials view, so you don't have to switch back and forth anymore for this one. These were the main benefits in the project financials. Coming over to the last piece in the project workspace. So these are the enhancements to the project status report. So as you can see, we now have the project status states. So this can also be extended, but by default we have draft and published, which gives us more information which of the project status reports have been completed already and which are still open. Also the possibility to duplicate, so to copy and paste the status report have been enhanced. So now it's really taken over and honoring all the data we have, but still generating a new baseline, bringing and pushing in new data from the current fiscal period that you are in if there have been any changes. So this one is a big plus. And as you can also see here, I have now a new button here, which means that I can create a new one, create a status report, and generate a status report with AI. And this takes a while because it has to gather quite some, the artificial intelligence in this case, so the ServiceNow LLM has to gather quite some details here. But and what I do really like is that it analyzes not only some basic data, similarly to the AI insights that I've presented before, it really does a generation and analysis of the full project, which means that I get an overview over the status. So I can see that the overall project is in red, resource health is critical, there is over allocation of key team members, and it goes through an executive summary. It provides me an overview over schedule updates, and also, of course, whether the costs are in green or the resources. Yeah. So this is now really a very good summarization of the complete project. And this is a big help for the project manager because you usually know what's going on in your project, but to formulate that and to summarize that and the whole back and forth for the project status reporting is quite a nightmare. And for this, this functionality is now really very usable. So this one is definitely a functionality I do like very much. And this is also one of the biggest advantages for the project manager when it comes to Now Assist functionality, and gives us new possibilities to also leverage the data in here. Yeah, so this is the summary you can see here with the details. So this has also been stored. So this is really a great functionality that we are now able to use with Now Assist. Good. Now heading over to the strategic planning workspace. In here, we have a few new topics I would like to go through. The one thing, and I'll keep that pretty quick, is the possibility now within the overview to not only, to not having to switch between the Kanban and the hierarchy view. This is now directly integrated here. So you have an own tab here where you go into the Kanban and the hierarchy view accordingly. So it's a little bit easier to navigate. You can still customize and change it to your liking depending on what you actually want to have. Another thing that is really important is the possibility to now have demand management within strategic planning or portfolio planning for SPM standard. So as you can see, we have now the complete list of demands here available. We can easily filter. We can use the existing data. What is important is that we are not changing the data itself. So we're still relying on the same artifacts as have been available in the past. So we still use the demand management tables. We're still able to use demand tasks, cost plans, everything related to that. It's just pushed up in the new workspace. And if we generate a new demand, we will now be able to also use the playbooks accordingly. So we are not limited anymore to the, let's say, very narrow flow in the demand management that we've seen in the past, which was quite hard to steer sometimes. We are now really able to use the playbooks also for demand management since March. But you can also see part of the workspace, and what already is migrated apart from the playbook is the details view and the docs. So recently in the demand management, the docs were not available. Now we are able to use them, and of course we can also change and add information based on the record, based on data we have, and also include that into our documentation here. Apart from that, we get one playbook out of the box for demand management. And just to show you the differences in here, for example, I can still open any phase, but I'm not able, for example, to add a secondary goal because I haven't finished the primary goal and the adjustment or the documentation of this one. So I can enter a primary goal, can mark this one is complete, and as soon as this one is completed, the secondary goal is going to be active. So now I can also add a secondary goal or even more if I like. So this is another way how to steer the users and enter and fulfill processes with the playbooks. Good. Last but not least, enterprise agile planning. So in here, as you can see, we now have, and I'm not going too much into detail here into the team structure itself. So you can see we have one team with full capabilities available in enterprise agile planning, including the homepage with an overview, backlog hierarchy, planning board, and so on and so forth. And if we switch to the other team, you can see that only the homepage is visible with a overview over the current sprint execution. And if you want to go and see more details here, you can directly navigate to the CWN. You can, of course, create records from here, so that's important. So you can still use the full functionality of enterprise agile planning, but for the details and the team view, you would then use CWM. It's also quite easy to set that up because in the agile structure, where you basically define how your teams are being structured, you can define within the team which the agile planning tool would be in that case. So whether you want to use CWM or EAP out of the box. Good. Last piece I would like to show is the possibility to define strategies and get an overview over here. So in here, as you can see, I have the possibility to define a board based on my goals and targets, and you can directly update the records from here. So this is actually quite nice. So I can say, okay, this is now the actuals to date. It will directly update the progress of the goal. So this is a really good usable tool because this is important. I can easily filter based on my my requirements. So let me just provide that so I can directly create one. I can define which are the strategic plans I would like to see, and also on which entities I would like to have my goals being shown. Or let's use business unit for that, because I think for these three we should have some details. So as you can see, for strategic plan with enterprise AI transformation, my strategic priorities, I can go through the strategic plans and the strategic priorities accordingly. I can also define details from here. I can share that board with somebody else. So also this was quite a cumbersome exercise. And of course, I can always go into details here, create new strategic priorities, or navigate from here. That's the first piece. Then, as a second piece, I can then once again drill down into the records depending on the strategies. So when I go to the overview here, I can now see what are the goals and overviews based on the filter I've been on before. So this is now more integrated. It's much easier to digest, and also, of course, in here I can directly start updating depending on the achievements. So This is a way better view releases and from the initial goal lens that we have had to define, which was not very easy to do, and also to present the goals and OKRs in a way that they are easily to navigate through for the end users is something that hasn't been possible in the past. With this view now, this is really possible and should give us way more possibilities to really represent and make the whole OKR system manageable in ServiceNow without the need of custom dashboards, views, lists, and so on and so forth. Good. Then going back to my user, to my admin user, I am navigating into collaborative work management. Pretty quick, the one thing I've already showed. So here I have my DB1 team board with the board loading here, where you can see that I have an integrated sprint planning with the possibility to directly work with the sprint here, capacity planning in here, and everything that is usually necessary. I can already also view completed sprints, but can also directly navigate to the Enterprise Agile Planning view with the overview. What is important, I can also connect work to EAP integrated, but also to any other board that I have. So this is a big plus when you have teams that not only work on EAP items, but also on other elements, other tasks. So you can easily integrate those here as well. Another big addition is now the My Work for all item types. So we are not limited to the let's say project related tasks, so like project tasks, demands, whatnot. As you can see, we also have cases, contact tasks, change requests in here. So basically everything that a user has access to in ServiceNow as a task will be displayed here. And from here, we can then start filtering, drilling down, and directly going into the one or the other record, or just use this overview that we have. Nice to present it and navigate it from there if we want to. Last but not least, in CWM, what I wanted to also quickly show is the possibility to to not only have multiple connected work items with different filters presented, but also if we go into one element here, we can easily define relationships. So you see here, dependent tasks. I can also now, for example, define related tasks. And let me just quickly see here. So for example, in this case, I am now linking a user story to a CWM task. Yeah, so I'm really flexible in the way of what I would like to link to each other. And this is a big enhancement because we are not limited to stories anymore. And this opens up the whole way how we use that boards, because within those boards, we can use stories, we can use epics, we can use incidents, changes, whatsoever. So we can link those all together and use this in a much better overview and view. One final remark I would like to also give here is if you're intending to use CWM, please also have a look at the automation possibilities, because now you can individually define for each board different possibilities when to generate notifications, when to generate, for example, an email out of a specific field change or whatnot. So this gives you also quite some possibilities to use the system in a better way out of the box. Last but not least, enterprise architecture. So here, I think two things I would like to directly mention is the application rationalization. Within the list, we now have the possibility to change between the show of the normalized values versus the actual values. So you see here, those next to each other. This is really important if we want to assess differences, especially over the different time periods. and maybe also then discuss adjustments to the different scoring methods. There are also enhancements when it comes to filters, so we can now filter based on indicators. We have a better overview of business application and business capabilities. So this has been overhauled and gives us quite some enhancement and possibilities to better use the system. When it comes to the modeling and architectural diagramming possibilities, yeah, I think the first one is of course updates to the shapes. Yeah, this is an evergreen, so this will be coming along the way continuously. We have new shapes for Archimate, but you also see for now the shapes for AWS, for example, but also updated shapes for CSDM and also extended shapes. So for example, if you use GRC integration or TRM, or of course digital integrations, and these are from the AI control tower, for example. So this brings us quite some new enhancements. As I mentioned, we have the AI function to compare versions. This is, I think, a real great one because it directly shows you which elements are new. They are now marked, gives you an overview over what has been added in terms of relationships. Also here, some of those. So if you want to get a very fast and still precise overview of changes between the one version of a diagram between the other, this is a very, very easy way to do without going too much into details. So from here, that was that. And I've tried that before. So also here, we can now also generate, for example, a document out of our overview, so out of model. So this, and I hope this is now working. Yes, this looks good. So what you can see now here is an architectural design document with an introduction, with what version we do have, an overview over the model, metadata information, record information. This is also great, and also some more details. So from here, you can actually start really doing your detailed documentation. And once again, this is integrated because it's an artifact, it's an architectural artifact. This can then go into your approval. So you not only have the shape and the model itself, but you also have a documentation related to the model, which you can then fill in and then put through an approval process. This is, in my opinion, a really good enhancement and should ease the work for the enterprise architect significantly. So that was that. And the last piece I wanted to show is the possibility or the new functionality related to data certification. As you can see, there is a new entry point in our menu. You can directly navigate to your policies here. Before that, it was quite hard to actually go to that point. Deactivate it, view it, and edit it. You see also the policy executions, which records are related to the policy execution and which tasks you do have. And you can then navigate into the different task itself. You can see which records are available that haven't been reviewed so far. So this is also all integrated. And from here, the user can directly say, okay, I'm going to certify or fail. Single records or multi-select, of course, is also possible. So this whole navigation eases it significantly for the user, hopefully making the whole certification process a little bit more user-friendly. And also, as it's one of the backbone functionalities of enterprise architecture, it should also give you, from an enterprise architecture perspective, a better way of actually using that functionality better and in more detail. So this was a quick overview over the highlights. If you want to go into a deep dive, feel free to reach out. We are happy to also map that to your environments. We are Advice, focused partner on the 3 topics that we have just mentioned. So strategic portfolio management and CWM, as they are closely connected, and of course, enterprise architecture. And we're doing this for quite some time now. Happy to have quite a number of customers already in the list, which with whom we are working together closely, and we're also happy to add new additions in the upcoming months and also the recent months, of course. So while you're hopefully typing in some additional questions, maybe one final remark, because we are doing this for you as our customers, these webinars. There is an upcoming webinar next week related to collaborative work management. So this is a good chance to get a more detailed view into what is collaborative work management. We are doing this together with ServiceNow. So one of the product managers of ServiceNow is supporting us on that presentation, and should also give you the possibility to hopefully answer some of the open questions that we have heard from customers in the recent months. So please feel free to register. I will directly post the link also quickly here in the chat. I hope you can directly see that afterwards, and yeah, feel free to register and join this webinar as well. I see a few questions. So the one is related to CWM, to get a structured overview of related tasks in CWM, for example, an Epic with all the child stories. So as far as I know, not. This is a functionality that has been added in EAP. So if we just quickly go back to the strategic planning workspace, so this hierarchy view is actually some that you can natively now see in CWM. So you have, for example, here a hierarchy with the Epic, with the related capabilities, with the related features and the stories. So this has been added to EAP. Something similar is not yet available in CWM. I don't know if it's coming. This is something you could potentially ask next week if you want to join this webinar. But thanks for the question. I hope that at least partially answers your question. Another question, and thanks for that, we also had that in the previous webinar and once again forgot to show it, was that somebody was asking what this menu entry here is, because they were unfamiliar. So this is a product that we as Advice are developing. So we thought about ways of simplifying the WBS elements out of the project management capability. And this is what we came up with. This is the My WBS view, where you can see the overview over the project tasks and all related tasks, also, of course, top and sub projects and whatnot. This is going to enrich or be enhanced over time. If you want to have more details here, feel free, so we can go through that in more details. So I haven't seen any further questions in the Q&A section. If you are interested in more details, feel free to reach out. There is one question. Yeah, we will record the CWM webinar as well. So feel free to register and you will get the recording afterwards. Yeah, so we are at the end of our webinar. I'm 1 minute over, sorry for that. Once again, if you want to hear more or have some detailed questions, feel free to reach out either to me or one of the colleagues you know from our organization. We will continue that journey doing that webinar, so I'm also happy to invite you to one of the future webinars when we talk about what's new in Brazil, if I got that correctly. So let's stay tuned for that. For today, thanks for joining, thanks for participating and asking questions, and yeah, hopefully see you next time. Have a great rest of the day and a successful rest of the week. See you soon. Thanks and bye-bye.